Alright, so this is probably the first word problem you all have had to work with systems of equations, okay? And so it says, used books and videos were sold at a recent library fundraiser. A total of 175 items were sold. Books cost $5 each, videos cost $6 each, and a total of $910 was collected. Write a system of equations to represent this situation. How many videos were sold? Alright, so how many equations do we have in a system of equations?
2.
We've got 2 this year, okay? Next year in Algebra 1, you may have 3 sometimes, okay? But this year we've just got 2. So we've got 2 equations that we need to write. So when we look at this information, we can look and see that we've got a total number of 175 items that were sold, right? And we know that they sold books, and we know that they sold videos, right here. So I don't know how many of each they sold, so I'm going to set up variables. I'm going to say X and Y, and I'm going to say X is my books, and Y is my videos. Okay? You could choose any letters you wanted to for it. You could have made videos X and books Y. It's not going to matter. You just got to set up what it's going to be. And it has to be that in both equations that you write. So the first one we can write has to do with how many items are sold. So how many books were sold? Well, total we had 175. But do we know exactly how many books were sold? So X number of books, right? How many videos were sold? We don't know for sure, do we? So Y number of videos. But we know the total, if I add them together, is going to be 175 items. So there's my first equation. Okay? Now, we know one more piece of information. What else do we know from this problem? Alright, the total amount collected, and that was $910. So we know something's going to equal that 910. Do we know how much something cost?
Books cost 5 and videos cost 6.
Okay, so books were 5 and videos were 6. Our books are represented by X, so to get the total amount they sold in books, we could say 5 times X, right? And to get the total amount they sold in videos, it would be $6 times however many videos, when videos is represented by our Y. So our second equation would be 5X plus 6Y equals 910. Okay, then you would solve it just like we've been doing with substitution for systems of equations. And whatever Y equaled would be your number of videos sold. Alright, so I'll do this one with you. I'll solve this one. So we've got X plus Y equals 175. Do you want to solve it for X or for Y? It doesn't matter. Y? Okay. So I'm going to subtract X from both sides. And I get Y equals 175 minus X. Or negative X plus 175. Alright. And then I'm going to plug that in. So I've got 5X plus 6 times 175 minus X, because that's where my Y's at, and I'm out of room, equals 910. Okay, so I substituted in. Now I have to solve it, and so to solve a multi-step equation, we start with distributive property. So I've got 6 times 175 and 6 times negative 1. So what's 6 times 175? It's 1050 minus 6x, right? Equals 910. Alright, combine like terms. 5x minus 6x gives me...
Wouldn't the 1050 be 1050y?
Because we got rid of the y when we substituted in the value 175 minus x. Because y and 175 minus x equal the exact same thing. So we get negative 1x plus 1,050 equals 910. Okay, so now I've got to get rid of this 1,050, so I'm going to subtract 1,050 from both sides. And I get a negative 1x equals be 140, wouldn't it? Negative 140. Negative 140. Divide both sides by negative 1, which is just going to flip my signs on everything. And x equals 140. Well, what did x represent? Books. So if I sold 175 items total, and 140 of those were books, how many videos did I sell? 35. So to answer my question that I was asked, I sold 35 videos.
It's easy when you explain it, but like when we have to do it, I don't think like you do.
You don't think like I do? Not too many people think like I do.
Yeah, that's not the reason we don't have any.
All right. Practice will help you think like I do. That's why I go over it and tell you what I'm thinking when I do it. I just try to help you understand the thought process behind it. Okay? All right, so I'm going to help you set up the two equations on the next one, but I'm going to let you all solve them. Okay? So it says the cost of 3 pizzas and 4 sandwiches at Butch's Deli is $68. The cost of 3 pizzas and 7 sandwiches is $92. What is the cost of 1 pizza and the cost of 1 sandwich? Write a system and solve. All right, so I need 2 variables. What variables we want to use? X and Y. Okay, so what's X going to represent? Pizzas. Okay. What's Y going to represent? All right. So we have 2 different scenarios here. So the first one says the cost for 3 pizzas and 4 sandwiches is $68. So how would I write that in an equation? $3x plus 4y equals 68. Somebody came in and said, hey, I want 3 pepperoni pizzas and 4 ham and cheese sandwiches.
$68?
And it was $68. Okay? So we don't know how much they charged him for each pizza, but we know that we can represent that by X. We don't know how much they charged him for each sandwich, but we can represent that by Y. And we know when we add the 2 together, we have a total of $68. I'd be finding me a new pizza place. Okay? That's expensive. All right. Then we know somebody else came in and said, hey, I want 3 pizzas and 7 sandwiches. All right. So, hey, give me 3 pizzas. I don't know how much they cost. Give me 7 sandwiches. I don't know how much they cost, but if I add them together, my total cost is what? $92. Okay?
That's why Papa John was in there.
All right. And then you will solve for 1 variable, substitute, solve the equation, and you'll be able to find the cost per pizza, cost per sandwich.
Does it matter which one we do first?
Does not. You can start whichever one you want to.